Well, hello, my lovelies. My name is Kat. Welcome to my channel if you are new, and welcome back if you are returning. Thank you so much for all of your love and support. Seriously. So, as promised, I am coming at you guys with a video about twin flames. And why am I coming at you guys with a video about twin flames? Um, don't mind my dog if he comes and says, hi, baby. Um, so Well, for starters, I feel like I have been searching for my twin flame since I was a child. Um, excuse me. And how do I know that? I didn't know that I was actually searching for my twin flame, as um, the spiritual community likes to call it. Um, I was searching for something, though. I was always drawn to very heartfelt, romantic. I was just gonna say lovey-dovey, but I feel like that's a little. I mean, it is accurate, but yes, very heartfelt, romantic, lovey-dovey type stuff. Even as a very young child, I was actually, to be completely honest, I was very sexually in tune. I knew what love, like true love, felt like. It was like I could empathize with. These songs that I was listening to, these movies, as I got older. Obviously, I wasn't a child watching super romantic movies, but like when you're watching movies and then you see like a very brief romantic scene, but you can see the love in the two people's eyes. Um, that type of thing. That's what I always really empathized with. But then, not only was I empathizing with it, I was I found myself yearning for it. So I guess I could say that like my childhood was very confusing because I felt things that really, in societal norms, only adults should feel. But if you take into consideration reincarnation and stuff like that, and living past lives and experiencing things like love and romance and sexual things and, even other things, other adult things, um, yeah, excuse me. So yeah, I just found myself like yearning for these things, and as I got older, and I started to awaken a lot more, because as I've said in previous videos, I believe, I've always kind of been in tune with things. I grew up very indoctrinated, but I think um, inside I always fought those things. So it's like I grew up in the Christian Methodist Church, but I always fought a lot of the things that I was told. I was felt, not that I was being told complete lies, but I always felt like I was getting distorted truths, if you will. Because if you really look into it and do the research, the teachings of Jesus were all about enlightenment. He was trying to tell people that source is within everybody, that everybody is a god or a goddess, like is a demigod, a demigoddess, because we are all of one source. So we all hold power of the source. We can all create and grow. And so basically, we're not as limited as we've been controlled and programmed to believe we are. But anyway, so it's like I grew up always believing and well, not believing, but like um, being told to believe these things, taught to believe certain things, but I always thought it. So I would say when I turned 16, 16 was when I really, that was, I would say, my first noticeable awakening, after going through so much indoctrination and programming and everything. Um, my family and I were out for my birthday dinner, and we had come home. I'd walked down the hallway, went to go into my room, and I saw not an orb, not an orb, not an orb, but an orb. A huge, gigantic orb. And it came down from, because like Just for some perspective, the light in the living room was on, so it kind of lit up the hall this way and then barely lit up the hall this way. So it's like there was just a very, very subtle light, barely lighting the doorway of my room. Everything else is just black. So you can imagine this gigantic orb. At first, when I recollected, I was like, oh yeah, it was like the size of a basketball. And when I actually recollected, it was more like the size of a freaking beach ball. Um, so I saw this and it was like down by my bed and it kind of like floated across my floor very quickly. But it floated across my floor and then up past my right side out my doorway. And then it kind of just disappeared. And like I didn't even get into my room before I turned back around and walked back down the hallway to my mom, who was still kind of like making her way into the house. I was like, Mom, I just saw an orb fly out of my bedroom. And her face was that of panic. Mine was just like, well, because I didn't feel threatened by it. As somebody that grew up I mean, I lived in my house for 19 years, I think. Um, and I was tormented at night. That's a whole different story. I have a whole a theory about why that is, but night terrors, and I felt presences in my room, very dark, low vibrational presences that I felt were very drawn to my light, drawn to my power. Not that everybody doesn't have that light and that power, but I've known for a very, very, very long time that I came here for a very specific reason. It wasn't no 9 to 5. I knew that I came here for a very specific reason. I knew that I came here to help people. I just didn't know how. You could talk to anybody that knows me. I have been saying this shit for such a long time. It's like I've always had these feelings and these broad blanket statements that I've made that I didn't know the details behind. Um, and Twin Flames was one of those things. So after that awakening, when I turned 16, I would say the next one was around 20-ish, 19, 20, 20, 20. I was living in this house, I can tell you that. And I will just say that I started, we could call it ceremonially partaking in some more plant medicines, which helped to add to more awakening. It helped awaken more. It opened my mind to a lot more things that I had always believed in, but it was more so it was opening my mind, and then I was taking these other things that I had experienced, not under the influence of these plant medicines, these I don't know. I don't really call it. I guess they could be mind altering, but they really just bring you to heightened levels of consciousness that we're not programmed to be at on a normal basis. But I digress. So I was taking these experiences, these things that were coming up, and I was connecting the dots with experiences I had had in my past. And I feel like that's a really, really important thing, especially now with so many people going through rapid changes, and they feel like they're kind of going a little fucking crazy. Um, Connecting dots to past experiences is really, really helpful because of the way that our egos are programmed to be. We need that validation until we can reach a level of trust within ourselves, trust with our higher selves, trust with in the universe, with our guides. Even though it takes a little time to manifest in this lower density 3D. Um, just had to make that note. Also, just have to make another note. Um, Messages are timeless. So, anybody that makes their way to my channel, which I feel is so divinely guided, I believe everything is divinely guided. Everything happens for a reason, down to the tiniest little traffic delay. You have no idea. Seriously, every little thing happens for a reason. So you got to trust it. Um, I don't know what I was getting at. I was going on a tangent there. Um, Oh yes. When you get messages, messages are timeless. We're programmed to be stuck in the prison of time, but realistically, on an energetic level, it doesn't matter. So the message is going to come to you when it comes to you. Whether it pops up on your screen, you're searching for something, and that pops up. Like trust that the messages that are coming to you are divinely guided. And they really are. And you'll start to have, when you trust it, you start to have these crazy aha moments. These epiphanies. And then the more you follow them, the more you just see your life just change just like that. It's beautiful. Um, but yeah, just so everybody is aware, it is January 22nd, 2024. But it doesn't matter when you get this message. If you're getting this message December 31st of 2024, or even the beginning of 2025, the middle of 2024, it doesn't matter. Whenever you come across this message is when you're supposed to be listening to it. Trust that. Speaking from experience, I have 1010. I have listened to messages. Um, that were from 7 years ago, dated. Like on YouTube, it showed like, yeah, this was posted 7, 8 years ago. But the message is just exactly what I needed to hear, 100% relevant to my current situation. So I will continue on. As I continued to grow, I had like, that second awakening where I really started to question everything around me. Not that I wasn't doing that as a kid, I was always questioning everything. And that's what I encourage people to do now, especially if you caught my last video or the one before. I don't know which one it was, but we've been lied to. Been lied to, manipulated, brainwashed. I'm just going to say it. Everybody knows it. Well, not everybody, but people are waking up to it. Um, and there, like I have said, there is a shift in enlightenment that people are awakening. This year is going to be hugely transformative. There is so much stuff that is being brought to light, so much darkness that is being brought to light, the light being shed on that stuff. Um, and as that stuff gets muckier and nastier in the 3D, people that are shifting their consciousness into the 5D, things just continue to get more and more abundant and blissful and beautiful. I'm on that path. I don't know about you, but if you want to be on that path, and you're here for this message, then I would say that you're probably heading in that direction. The biggest thing I can tell anybody is that it's not easy, but if I were to choose going back to that or staying on this path, I would choose this path. It can be scary because you don't really know when you're trusting. I guess blindly trusting, but you're not blindly trusting because you always know on a higher conscious level, especially when you start to be in tune with that. When your body, you start to become in tune with your body and the messages that it's giving to you and how it's connected with your higher self. Yeah. Another one of those tangents where I had a message that I was saying and then it just got cut off. Sometimes spirit does that. That's okay. But yeah, when it's like, it can be scary just blindly trusting things because you don't know what's going to happen next. But continue to follow that next step, continue to follow your passion. Um, Small example, last night, I didn't really have anything to do. I've been working on a business and it's still being established. But I've been kind of halted due to certain hiccups with my business license. So, which, yeah, if you're trying to start a business, holy shit, it's a hassle. But that was a leap of faith that I had to take. Also, putting videos on YouTube, that was a leap of faith that I had to take. Things both very out of my comfort zone, but things I was being called to do. And even though the whole thing was a really big step, I was very divinely guided with the little steps. And like I said about traffic delays, this is a delay. And normally, me, like even just a month ago or 2 months ago, I would have been freaking out. Like, my ego would have been going crazy, thinking the worst case scenario about all of this instead of trusting, that the the process is going as it should be. It might not be my 3D plan, but it is the higher plan that's working how it's supposed to. Because from a 3D perspective, if you want to look at it like we're walking through woods, we don't see, excuse me, we don't see what's up ahead. You don't. But your higher self, your guides, your team, they're standing up on this freaking cliff. They see everything that's going on. They know what's going on. And they got these like 3D, like night vision goggles. So not only can they see what's up ahead, but they can see within the trees. They see everything. And by they, that also includes you, your highest self. That is you. You are the consciousness that has like come into this simulated game. And, what you exist in, your meat suit, that's your avatar. I'm getting off track. Um, so backing up, backing up, backing up. Um, so yeah, I'm getting off track as far as like coming back to twin flames. Um, I had always questioned, always questioned things, but it was like as I continue to awaken, um, I started to question more, which is really difficult because like we talk about, the ego is programmed to either be in the past dwelling on things that have happened, which creates your present chaos, which predicts your future, or you're always in the future, thinking about hypothetical conversations that could or could not happen. Everything is a possibility at a quantum level. Um, so yeah, or you're judging. Or you're in the present moment, but you're still judging. So it's like you're standing outside, and instead of just listening to the birds or admiring the leaves on the grass or whatever, and just breathing in the air and you know what I mean, just feeling that oneness, you're making a judgment. That's not you, that is your ego, that's the program. So it is a battle, and as you continue to awaken and start to question things, your ego is going to fight that really, really hard. If you want more on that, read Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now. It's fucking A. So transformative. Mind blowing, literally mind blowing, fucking transformative. If you want to know what insanity is, we are all insane. The way that our minds are programmed, they're insane. Our minds, our bodies, they're supposed to be tools. And the way that we are, the way that we function, they're in control, which is why we live in chaos. Take a step back, take a moment, look around you. It is so chaotic. But within that, there's this uprising of peace, love, happiness, harmony. So, anyway, um, as as uh as you continue to awaken, you start to question things. So that's what I was doing, questioning more and more and more. I started doing research on things because, I believed in soulmates. I believed in reincarnation. Had no fucking clue what twin flames were. Like, what is this? So I started doing research. And what you see a lot on the internet is the base belief is that your twin flame is your energetic soul match. So if you want to look at it from this perspective, I really like this um, metaphor, if you will. So if you look at our matrix, our world, like basically like, well, just look at us as a whole, not so much the matrix we exist in as itself, but us as a collective. We are like a disco ball, and we represent as individuals these little fractals of the disco ball. And this disco ball, obviously, because there's so many different forms of life, this is a gigantic frickin' disco ball. But either way, it can be a gigantic disco ball because it's lit up by source, and source is infinite light, infinite love, light, Christ consciousness. So as this source light comes into this disco ball, it's lighting up every fractal. But you got to think every fractal is still a piece of that light. So it's still a piece of that source. It's just coming through a different lens. So it's still going to see, if you want to put that in our perspectives, we are those fractals. So we are still a part of that source. We still hold that power within us, but we see and perceive the universe and the world differently. And that's done on purpose because that's how source created it. When you're this source and things can just happen like this, you don't really get to experience things differently. But if you put yourself inside a disco ball, or you take yourself and separate yourself into the different pieces, and then you I don't know, put yourself into a Sims game, and then you play all the different characters in the Sims, but they're all experiencing life in different ways, creating in different ways. That's pretty much the basis of our matrix. It's actually really beautiful because it's originally designed off of, love and light. Um, so this whole getting off track thing. So if you look at it like that, you have this one fractal, this one fractal that has lived all these different lives, all these different past incarnations. Um, when we incarnate, especially recently, we incarnate for different reasons, whether it be paying off debt, karmic debt, learning, loving, growing. There's so many different reasons, but I feel that before we incarnate into this 3D matrix, we sign contracts. We do this energetically in a different level. I do this up here, but it's more like this. It more expands outward than is an up down thing. But we make these contracts, these soul contracts with our soul family, and for my experience personally, I don't want to go broadly, but for personally, my experience was, um, so I started doing this research, um, and I came to twin flames. So twin flames are the exact energetic soul match. So if you want to look at it as like this fractal, this fractal of source has this library of experiences and lives and all of this stuff. So this is what I can access, even though I'm technically connected to every other fractal and their computer database of all of their lives and all of that stuff. This is mine. This is my energetic match. So that's how I see twin flames. Whereas here's my fractal, and here's my program of lives, and here's my mom's and my dad's and my brother's, and I say that because I know that I have lived many, 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 many millennia with them. So I acknowledge that I am an ancient soul. Um, Another video. So um, so it's like they are not my exact energetic match, but we will incarnate into different human lives together, or even different star systems together for different reasons as soul family. So we'll play different roles in different lives. I could have been married to my mom at some point. She could have been my wife and I was her husband. We could have kids, something like that. It sounds crazy to some people, but when you start to become enlightened and awakened, these things don't sound crazy to you. Actually, the shit that you've been programmed to believe sounds freaking crazy. Sorry. Ego, ego gets a little fired up. Um, pardon me. So as I was doing this research on twin flames, so mind you, like this is my perspective on twin flames now. Before it was all about like read everything that you hear on the internet and try to go with what resonates, and that was really hard for me because I had a lot of energetic blockages. I came into this world with a lot of low vibrational energy, um, karmic energy, karmic debt, if you want to call it that I had to transmute. A lot of ancestral, a lot of um, cycles, like negative cycles and curses, ancestral curses, stuff like that. And I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people, especially my generation, generation before us. We're here to do that. We're breaking these cycles because we are here to bring in a new generation to help facilitate this, what the spiritual community is calling the new earth. if you are familiar with that. If not, look it up. There's tons of information out there. So for me, it was like I had a lot of these energetic blockages specifically around my heart space. Um, and for those who are not familiar, your heart space is, well, your heart is actually your number one brain. It is more powerful than the brain that is in your head. Science proves this. And that's the other thing. Like a lot of these things that I say, most of the things that I say, they're either downloads, things that I feel that I resonate with, that I can validate with experiences I've had, or they can be validated with common science today. There are tons of well-renowned scientists, physicists, mathematicians, geologists. There are people all around the world right now that are validating this stuff. That they're taking science and spirituality and they're validating each other because that's what they were always meant to do. That's what they've always done. This matrix is designed off of scientific concepts and geometric patterns and coding and everything like that. Anyway, um, so I was believing everything that was essentially on the internet about twin flames. And I have my theories about how this matrix is operating now versus how it was originally designed. I think it's in control by self-serving beings. And they do what they can to keep us in a state of low density control as a means of energy. I mean, literally go to the Matrix movies. Not quite like that, but a similar concept, using the energy source of humans and low vibrational, anger, sadness, rage, jealousy, those low vibrational emotions, it puts off a very strong energy. And when the earth was vibrating collectively at that low density, it made it very easy to continue in that way. But now that things are changing, it makes it a little bit harder to stay in that. But um, either way, so I feel that you have these particular beings that they will find whatever way, even as this consciousness is rising. I'm seeing it still. They're infiltrating the spiritual community via, whether it's people people trying to take advantage of people on a twin flame journey that know that they're on a twin flame journey, or people that are not here on a twin flame journey and they're but they are contracted to meet with a divine counterpart, a divine high level soulmate. Everybody here, we have our contracts, we have these things that we're here to do. I just feel that um, twin flames are higher level souls. They signed up for a mission, and they knew that they were coming into a distorted matrix. And so from what I see, how I feel, the information that I've gotten from my higher self and my guides, um, not to mention enlightenment from other people within the twin flame community actually going through a legit twin flame situation. Um, I think it's brought me to this conclusion that it's like, okay, I'm on this mission, but I I need more power. I need more of me. So it's like it's like we went into this database, our little fractal database, and we're like, okay, I got to take this life that I lived back in 1976, and because that was the last life that I was incarnated in. That's the last life that I had. That was a really high level soul, and they're going to incarnate into this other life, and in this 3D version we're going to combine each other, fulfill this mission essentially. Again, like I said, it sounds crazy to people that are not on this awakened path, um, but that's what makes most sense to me, and that's why I see a difference in the twin flames and the soulmates. When soulmates come together, it's very passionate, very lovey-dovey, and that is what the story is. That's what the twin flame story is. That's what's pushed. Is it's more like a soulmate thing that you come together and you're so much alike and blah blah blah. So basically, I I have thought that three different people in my life. One was like a like a best friend. It was weird. Well, we knew that there was a deep love there, but it was just like situationally, nothing evolved past a very deep love platonic relationship. And it ended very negatively, I would say. All my love and light goes to her. But so it was like I thought she was my twin flame. And then I had actually the guy that I dated right after her, or actually it was during our friendship. Or maybe right after that. I don't know. Time is just like whatever to me now. Like trying to recollect stories and when they happened is very difficult. And that's the other thing. When you start to live in the now and the present moment, time and recollecting when things happened is just like, fuck, I don't even know. It's really hard, especially if you're trying to write a book or something. Um, so I had this dream prior to being in this relationship with this guy after I turned 21. I had this crazy dream, and I won't go into details. Actually, I had two dreams with him in it. Could never see his face, but all I can say is that he was very familiar. I had gone to see an energy reader, and I like to call them energy readers, not tarot readers, because they are reading energy through tarot. So tarot cards, crystals, like crystals in the form of like a pendulum, even just making up your own cards, whatever you're using as a tool. It's really just the tool that your higher self is using to communicate with you because that's, like I said, ego needs validation in the 3D. So my mom and I went to go see this energy reader, and she was really cute. She normally doesn't read people together, because energy's mixed. Sometimes it's harder to get a clear reading. But she was like, oh my gosh, your energy together. She's like, normally I don't do readings together, but your energy, I can sense that you guys have lived many, many lives together, but not always in the same role. And at the time, we were in, very enlightened, but not as enlightened as we are now. And that's the thing. Enlightenment is ever, it's infinite. You can always continue to grow and gain enlightenment and create. So at the time, we just kind of like looked at each other like, oh my God, because we had always joked about how we swore we had lived different lives together, but I was her mom because that's how it is now. I'm very much a leader. I've always been a leader in my household. Again, you could ask anybody around me. I don't lie. I have no reason to lie about anything that comes out of my mouth. I might be a little off with time and dates and stuff like that, but as far as my recollection, I have no reason to lie about anything, and I will admit if I can't freaking remember a detail of something. So anyway, so we get this energy reading, and I won't go into details as far as like I said, what the dream was, but all she could tell me was, she said, I don't know who this person is, but when you come in contact with them, they're absolutely going to sweep you off your feet. So, backtrack. My last two exes, I literally thought they were both my twin flames. More so, my most recent, and that's just because you have this message, like I said, within the spiritual community, the twin flame journey. You come in contact with this person, and you mirror each other, you match each other, you're the same, basically. And that's not necessarily the case. With my experience now, I can see that, but it's more so on an energetic level because you got to think that's you. That's another incarnation of you. So, of course, you're going to be very similar, but you have to take into consideration that incarnation came into a 3D body, a 3D avatar with amnesia. So you still have to give that person over there an identity. That person doesn't realize what their consciousness is. They don't realize the bigger picture like the awakened, the divine feminine, the awakened twin does, or is. Um, so prior to my most recent ex, I was in a very low vibrational, very negative state of mind. So we mirrored that in each other. So of course I'm like, oh my God, sweep me on my feet, where this is my twin flame. And then I went through this stage towards the end of our relationship where I was just getting these messages from my higher self and I couldn't shut the voice out. And it was just saying like, he's not your flame. He's not your flame. Move on. He's not your flame. Move on. So then I started focusing on myself, yada yada. Fast forward to my most recent ex, the way that we connected, we were magnetized. I was convinced people, like so convinced because um, the image that I had for my future, another one of those things that I've been saying forever, I've always wanted to have a plot of land. I've never resonated with living in society. Um, as I was saying this and like thinking about it, I was looking up at Winston. By the way, this is Winston, everybody. This is my mom's plant. He was very small when she first got him. But the trick, so he's a pothos. Pothos are really easy to take care of, but if you are one of those people that you're just like, I can't take care of plants. I kill them no matter what I do. I give them and the water and everything this all the stuff that they need. It's not about that. You can literally do everything that you are supposed to do in the 3D. They are live. They're alive. They are plants are also fractals. So every plant, animal, bug, every little thing is a fractal of that bigger source. So you got to think they're conscious. They're alive. So you got to give them that love. So that's what, I'm also looking at my other plant across the way. His name is Raji. We have lots of plants in here and we name them and we talk to them and we love them. And that's the thing. That's why you look at his leaves. They're incredible. He's got all these little babies. He always has babies that pop out. He's got, I mean, all the way over here. He's just, and then this vine is just all the way almost over to the end of the wall. Yeah. Um, Talk to your plants. Love them. Sing to them. They love it. They absolutely do. And they will grow like this. Um, yeah, just introducing Winston here. Um, so I've always had this vision, and I won't go into details because it's really close to my heart, and it is something that I have affirmed to the universe. My ideas and my visions are unique to me. Only I can manifest those into reality. But at the same time, I feel like I need to be very personal about the details. So, but another, yeah, either way, I've always had this vision, um, and I had it prior to my last uh, two relationships, and I vocalized them in the one prior to my last, and I felt I cut myself off a lot because I felt like I couldn't be myself. This person that I am today was trying to come out then, and it was I was going through a lot of like paying off karmic debt, realizing that I was in negative, toxic cycles and patterns and limiting beliefs and yada yada. All the stuff I've worked through within the last 2 to 3 years. And so it's like I said, I had this vision, and with this last relationship I had, I really, really saw it with him. But then for some reason, I felt like I was forcing his dream, which I believe that he is here to do something incredible. Like I've said in a prior video, no harm, no harm, no foul. It is what it is. I understand that people come together for certain reasons. I just believed that this was something that it wasn't, not that it doesn't hold value. It is value because it got me to where I'm at, and I'm so grateful and thankful. Like I said, I love him endlessly, and unconditionally. Um, but I also acknowledge that I was trying to, and I feel so bad about it too, but well, I did feel bad about it. I've released my guilt around that. But I felt like I was trying to take his dream and my dream and smash them together, but more so trying to take his dream to make my dream happen. And I didn't just do that because I was like, oh, I'm trying to take advantage of this person. We were on the same page, or so I thought. Um, as far as communication. But then at the same time, with baggage and patterns of behavior, a lot of the time, if you really, really love and care about somebody, you'll sacrifice. You'll be like, oh yeah, like I'll do this thing that maybe I'm not so cool with. Like maybe I'm not cool with her being like, oh, you're gonna make all this money for us to make my dream come true. But I'm gonna help support you in making your dream come true so you can make money. See, it it wasn't like I was just waiting for things to happen. It was like, here, let me put my energy into you so that we can make this happen, so we can make this happen, and we can have this thing in the end. Wrong. This is going to be a long video. Okay, I promise I'm getting to a point. So fast forward, moved, ended up moving back to my hometown. I was gone for less than 2 years. Got what I needed to, connected with who I needed to, and started on where, this path that I'm on now. Took the turn that I needed to get where I'm at now. And I ended up, I don't want to say meeting because legit after I came in contact with this person, we didn't talk, didn't introduce, I introduced myself. I had to make the first move. I had to listen to my spirit team and be like, okay, well, this isn't going to happen. I got to do it. But we didn't talk and introduce ourselves until like I want to say 7, 8 months after encountering each other. So I encountered this person at the gym, and at first, when I saw him, like we made eye contact, I thought he was one of my exes. The first second, the second, I was like, oh my God, okay, he's not. And then the third second, I was like, holy fucking shit, oh no. Because mind you, I was still in my relationship, and it wasn't an oh no, like oh my God, here's this person. I'm just going to leave my relationship for this person. It wasn't like that. It was that my soul recognized him on a very, very, very deep level. Um, and then it triggered a fucking awakening. It triggered this crazy awakening enlightenment. We were not magnetized to each other. We didn't start talking, like I said, we didn't start talking for 8 months. Um, so fast forward about 3 months. I went through a bunch of enlightenment, started realizing that there were pieces of me coming up because that's the thing, like I was talking about, you have this blockage in your heart. Once you release that energetic blockage, you start to hear your truth. Some people actually legit start to feel their truth. Some of it feels like a warmness. For me, it feels like a pressure. The only time I've ever been able to feel anything like that was when I was literally going through heartbreak. And I felt like my heart was breaking. And that's the only time, as I say that, I start to feel the resonance in my chest. So like, yeah, that's the only time you ever felt that. But now that I released all of that energetic blockage from my heart, when I say things that are my truth, I feel that resonance in my chest. Yes, I could pick up my pendulum and be like, oh, and say the same statement, and it's going to give me a positive yes, but the whole point is that I trust that resonance in in my chest to be a truth. Like that is who I am. That is the seat, not the seat of my soul, but that's the seat of my truth. That's why I said like the heart is the most powerful brain. It knows everything. Your brain up here can be manipulated, obviously, as it's been programmed and manipulated for eons. But your heart cannot. Your heart always knows the truth. So my heart recognized him. Um, but then it was like as I started to bring more of me out, I started to bring back more fractals of me that had been spread out, more of me that I had given um unknowingly to people. And that happens as an empath too. You absorb, but you also give. Um so I found parts of me coming out that were not conducive to the lifestyle I was living. They're not cohesive to the relationship that I was in. They were not matching up. And it started off as one thing, and as we decided to separate, more things started to come up. I started to realize, oh, it's this. Oh, it's this. And then I started to realize like he was my false twin, and your false twin is basically supposed to prepare you for the union of your twin flame, which is nothing like any of the prior unions that you've had with your soulmates, because that's what they were. They were soulmates there to help prepare you for this union with your energy, which is, I hate to use the word treacherous, but it is fucking treacherous. I don't want to go into too many details as far as how every little thing worked out because I'm very much being called to write my story about it. It is that detailed. But I will say it's unlike anything else. Like I've said, I've been in three long-term serious relationships. I'm loyal as they freaking come. So they were all like, between 4 and 5 years. Um, very dedicated. When I love hard. I like, and that doesn't matter if I am in a romantic relationship with you, a platonic relationship, or if you're my family. When I love hard. I am a lover. That's just how, like I said, we're coded to be that way. But I'm just more in tune with that innate part of me, I guess you could say. So what I love really, really hard. So I'm so in love with all of my my exes, my ex lovers, my ex relationships, whatever. It's like I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with these people type stuff. Dedicated, wholly dedicated to these people, even if I wasn't getting the things that I needed. That was the other thing. It was recognizing patterns within those relationships, patterns within the friendships, even patterns within family relationships that I needed to cut ties with. So essentially meeting this person was all about awakening. And that was what I started to discover as I was like, this is so weird. I started to get this feeling. This is my twin flame. This is my twin flame. And then I came across this guy. I'll link his profile down below. Um, but he is the number one twin flame coach in the world. And I will vouch for him. I have not taken his coaching, which I would recommend to people who might not be as in tune. They might be newer on this spiritual journey, but they know what the fuck's up, basically. They're like, no, I know what I feel, but I need some guidance, essentially. His coaching is really, really affordable, and it's legit twin flame coaching. Um, he goes into the scientific anomaly that is twin flames, how we're polarized at the mind. Energetically, you're the same, but you're polarized at the mind. So it's like when you think about your twin flame, it makes them run. And he starts to explain the runner chaser. He goes into the terms like union, separation, all these things, how they originated from Zen Buddhism and all of these concepts. So, like I said, I will link him down below if you are resonating with being on a twin flame journey and you're like, fuck, I need some guidance. He can go a little bit more into detail. I'm more just here sharing my experience, letting you know that if you're chasing, if you're chasing after a soulmate, or what am I trying to say? No, you know that you're on a twin flame journey, but you're chasing after them, or you're in search of something, but you're being guided to treat it like a soulmate journey. I feel like this message might be for you. But so, like I said, I had these relationships, loved them with all of my heart and soul. Mm. Not once have I ever thought about them the way that I have thought about this person. Obsessively. So basically, with your twin flame, when you reach what they call the bubble phase, and that started once I communicated. So I introduced myself, he introduced himself. Um, there was a 4 to 6 window where we talked, not text, we just talked like in communication, physical communication. Um, and it was brief, it was flirtatious, it was, in so many words, expression of desire. But like he doesn't know what's going on behind the scenes in my life. I didn't really know aside from intuitive hits that I was getting. Um, didn't really know what was going on in his life. So, like I said, 4 to 6 week bubble where things were really like energetic and I guess you could say lovey dovey. Like I don't know. It's different for every flame couple. Sometimes people actually come together sexually and then and then after that 4 to 6 week bubble, they just and let me tell you, it's so fucking painful because during that time you are obsessively thinking about this person. Obsessively. I'm not that person. I don't do that. I'm on my own journey. I don't rely on people, especially now. Like when I separated from my ex, I was all about being on my own because I had spent my entire adult life in long-term relationships. That's 14 to 15 years, people. That's a long time. That's a long time to be in long-term relationships wholly dedicated. People can be in long-term relationships and go fuck around and cheat on their exes. I'm not that person. I've never done that. Um, so I've never been by myself. I've never, and I've always reflected the people that I've been with. I've always tried to match the people that I've been with, whether they're, like I said, romantic, platonic, or my family. That's how I am. That's how I've always been. I've never known myself truly because I've always been reflecting and being who I've been around. Not that people don't do that, but empaths tend to do that more intensely. And then also, if you resonate with being like a starseed too, and having a bigger mission, a bigger contracted mission than some other people have signed up for. So anyway, I had never thought so intensely about anybody. Like I literally could not get this person off my mind. So finally, I was guided to his name is Kurt, but I was guided to Kurt's page, and I was guided to start reading The Power of Now. And what The Power of Now basically explains is that you are not your mind. Um, that was hugely transformative. Um, and it wasn't just that, it was realizing that I had been following the guidance of whoever went in and infiltrated the spiritual community and put this bullshit in with the twin flames to try and keep twin flames from coming together. Basically, that's what it seems like to me. Um, they were teaching us that this was all about a romanticized union. So that's what we've been chasing. And as we've been chasing this romanticized union, it's been repelling. Um, Now, the runner chaser thing doesn't actually occur until you come into contact with your flame. You come into contact with your flame, you go through this 4 to 6 bubble where things are like rainbow stars and butterflies, yay, and you think everything's going to be perfect. And then it becomes hell after that. And it becomes hell because it's an awakening. It's all about awakening. It's not actually about the relationship. Once you realize it's about your awakening and you remember that you're here on a mission, whatever that mission may be, and you remember that they are not actually a separate person, that that's your energy in another avatar. Again, that sounds crazy. Um, Everything starts to change. They start to come back to you. But the whole point, like I said, it has nothing to do with the romanticized relationship. You have to break free from from the outcome of this whole thing, and you have to be focused on your mission. So like for me personally, I am a healer. I've been a healer for millennia, but in the 3D, you have to get certification for that. So that's what I've been working on. But as I've been following that, um, I have I've been noticing that everything has been shifting for me. I've been trusting in the process, and it's funny. I think I went on to go say something, and I didn't finish. But because I was so wrapped up in doing this stuff for my business, I entered a phase where I experienced a hiccup, and so this weekend I really didn't have anything to do. My certifications are all done. I really don't have things. In my masculine sense, like things, organized things, um, a list of things that I have to do, really. So I was very much in my feminine energy this weekend, very in touch with my intuition, did a lot of meditating, and I was like, you know what? I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to paint. So I painted last night, and I did my first painting since I actually moved out of my apartment with my ex, and I'm so happy to just like put on some freaking headphones. I put on some headphones and some classical music, and I just let it flow. And I wasn't in my head about doing it right. And it was funny because like what I started to do, the vision that I had, what I started with ended up not being that, but I wasn't even upset about it. Um so yeah. I don't know. I think I'm gonna leave it here. Um I hope that was hopeful. I hope it was helpful for anyone who's resonating with being on a twin flame journey right now. Because it's not what you think. It's not. It's not about coming together. Even though you want to acknowledge that your energy is in another 3D avatar and you want to acknowledge that that other person has an identity and they do, There is something so much higher at work here. And you have to remember that. And it's like once you remember that, this whole runner chaser thing stops almost in its tracks. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been dealing with lately. Um, without getting into a ton of details, I've this whole thing for me has been really crazy. It's made me feel like a fucking psychopath. So, you know, give me a little like or like a comment, like and comment and share with somebody if you know somebody that's on the same path, they're experiencing the same, or if you're experiencing the same thing, you know that you are on a twin flame journey if you feel like you're fucking crazy. With the things that are coming up. Like I have had psychic downloads, I have visions that come in, and the best way to decipher if your mind is just making it up or if it's, like a download or, like I said, like a psychic vision or something, is if it's triggered. So like, or like a triggered like a memory or something like that. I can always tell when something triggers a memory about somebody, when I'm doing something, if I hear something or something along those lines. But if it's something completely off the wall, like, I was doing my painting or something and listening to classical music, very in what they would say is a meditative state. Scientists have actually discovered this, that when people are in artistic states, they are basically in a specific brainwave state that can help channel messages, like from the divine and other dimensions and realms and stuff like that. Um, so it's like if I'm doing something like that and something random pops in, that's how I know it's a vision. So it's like with this person, I have been getting visions of the future, like, and not just visions of the future in the next 6 months or a year. I'm talking visions of the future in the next 2 to 3 years, where I was saying I had this vision of my future and I could never see my exes. I could never see these people in that vision. I'm not even seeing the complete vision of what I have been seeing for over a decade. And this person is there. I'm like, I'm not even trying to do this stuff. Like I'm telling you people, like I wanted to be by myself. I wanted to be single. I wanted to find myself, but in doing so, in trying to find myself, my twin flame came to me. Thus the basis of the twin flame journey. Let me know if you're following. Let me know if this came full circle. I'm really hoping that it did. I hope that this message is reaching anybody and everybody that it needs to. And if you guys are feeling like you want a little bit more information, more details, like I said, I'm feeling really called to write down my story. But my ego gets really Virgo analytical when it comes to doing stuff like that, when it comes to writing and like being a perfectionist and everything, and it's really annoying. So but yeah, let me know if this resonates with you. Please, 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 not for the purpose of algorithm or likes or popularity. Please, for the purpose of sharing this, if you know somebody that is going through the same thing, please share this with them. It's so powerful. The twin flames are we're here to lead. That's what it is. That's why it's different from other people that have chosen other paths with soulmates. It's not that you're not important. Everybody's role is important in this shift to the new earth and this shift to higher consciousness. Um, but if you resonate with being on a twin flame journey, this is really, really important to get it out to other people that are as well, because we are the leaders. We've chosen to be the leaders. We've chosen to help people awaken, to not just what's going on around them, but to their gifts and to their power and to what is actually reality and what is not. Reality is what you make it. And we've been programmed to see this reality, and we don't have to do that anymore. So just know that you are so loved. You are so, so, so freaking supported. Oh my gosh, I can't say it enough. And just another note, make sure that you are giving thanks for everything that you have, because as you are gratitude, gratuitous, if you're as you're gratuitous, you show your gratitude and you send that out into the universe, it is brought back to you. And as I was saying in prior videos, as things are shifting, the energy collectively is shifting on the earth. Manifesting positive things is so much easier now than it was before. Before, it took so much longer. So I hope that gives you some faith. I really hope that, like I said, I hope this message reaches who it needs to. And all my love and light and all the blessings to you. I love you guys so much.